right, everyone, I'm Julie of Raj Running, and this is the myth of healthy addictions. And I'll be speaking on this from my background as a professional clinical counselor, as well as a licensed independent chemical dependency counselor. These are some of the images I pulled up when I was looking for what I'm referring to by a healthy addiction. Basically using social media to promote what could be a disordered or problematic behavior and saying because it seems healthy to the public, it's okay to be acting this way. And we really need to stop doing this because not only are we in a way saying, oh, it's okay to do things that can cause long-term damage, but for people who have a more traditional addiction or problem, it's really discrediting what they're going through. So any kind of thing you do, any point in your life, I think it's important to look at the short-term benefits versus long-term effects. And that's a theme we've had all throughout Fit Blogging. Is what you're doing sustainable? Is this something that you want for a lifetime? And if not, what are you going to do about it? So what defines an addiction anyway? Traditionally, you might think of it as drugs and alcohol, maybe a food problem, but more and more you're going to see behavioral things, shopping, gambling, other what's considered process addictions. In this cycle of addiction, you can see how this might apply. You have a trigger or an event. It leads to some sort of emotional, mental desire to do a thing. You have a ritual before you go into your use, which leads to guilt. And in a cycle, you're going to go, wow, how do I justify this? How do I show I don't have a problem? You repeat it, you repeat it, you repeat it to try and show, hey, there's nothing wrong here. So the rest of my talk, I'm basically going to use the DSM-4 to better define addiction so you can all see how maybe this can lead to a problem with what you're doing. There's abuse versus dependence. Abuse in layman terms, problematic behavior. Dependence being you've crossed that line where your lifestyle is no longer sustainable. It's really causing problems in all aspects of your life. The criteria for abuse is the presence of at least one of these four things. Basically, your inability to do something at work, home, or school. Use where it is physically hazardous to you or others. Legal problems, and continued use despite social or interpersonal problems. Of these things, I'd say the failure to do something at work, home, or school is probably going to be the most common and noticeable thing, while there is the potential for hazardous use or continued use of exercise or dieting behaviors. This is probably going to be the one that we all notice the most. For dependence, you need at least three of these: tolerance, withdrawal, loss of control, attempts to cut down, salience, reduced involvement, and continued use despite harm. Tolerance, in a nutshell, is you need more to get the same effect. Now, this might be positive in the idea of, well, I used to only be able to work out for 20 minutes, now I can go 1, 2, 3 hours. Not a problem necessarily. But if you don't feel like you're worthy, if you don't feel like you did what you needed to do unless you get that 2, 3 more hours in, that could be a problem. Withdrawal, you're maybe not going to see too much physical withdrawal from exercise and stuff, but you may get some like emotional or social issues, and that's becoming more accepted in the community as signs of problems. Loss of control, again, once you start, you can't stop. And this isn't like Pringles. I mean, this is a serious thing. If you can't tell when you're going to come back home again, if you're not able to do your duties, it all connects together, that is not going to be good anymore. It's not healthy. Connected to that, attempts to cut down. That's more, I'm only going to do one race this year. I'm only going to do one class at the gym tonight. If you've acknowledged that you need to set some sort of boundaries to what you're doing, there's a piece of you that's saying, this is a problem. I probably shouldn't be doing this. Salience is a fancy way of saying you start manipulating your life around it. Are you planning your vacations? Are you changing your job? Are you manipulating all aspects of your life to have better access and recovery from what you're doing? Reduced involvement also comes with salience, and that's saying, well, you know what, this isn't working for me, cut this, cut this, cut this, cut this. If things that are not a problem in your life are being eliminated to make more time for something that is seeping in a problematic way, not good. And the continued use despite harm. Most classic example of this is going to be that push through the injury, say no pain. You guys, if you know you are causing long-term damage, why are you doing this? That's not good thinking. It really isn't, I don't think. So obviously I'm not going to change your mind in 5 minutes, but if you think you or someone you know might need some help, SAMHSA is going to be your national treatment locator, and that's specifically for behavioral health, not just drugs and alcohol. Project No is going to be a good source if you want to just get more information so you can get a better feel for, is there a concern for you or someone else? And here's how you can get a hold of me: blog, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, email, all that good stuff. And I'm here, so track me down. We can talk more, and I can hook you up with whatever you need to know.